to extension education. Education, concept and definition. In English, the term education has been derived from two Latin words educare, educer, and educatum. Educare means to train or mold. The term educatum denotes the act of teaching. It throws light on the principles and practice of teaching. Education may be defined as a purposive, conscious, or unconscious, psychological, sociological, scientific and philosophical process, which brings about the development of the individual and also the maximum development of society in such a way that both individual and society enjoy maximum happiness and prosperity. In short, education is the development of individual according to his needs and demands of society, of which he is an integral part. Education, informal, formal and non-formal. Informal education is the lifelong process by which every person acquires and accumulates knowledge, skills, attitudes and insights from daily experiences and exposure to the environment at home, at work, at play, etc. Formal education is the highly institutionalized, chronologically graded and hierarchically structured education system, spanning lower primary school and the upper reaches of the university. Non-formal education is an organized, systematic, educational activity carried on outside the framework of the formal system to provide selected types of learning to particular subgroups in the population, adults as well as children according to their needs. Example, agricultural extension. Extension education, origin and concept. The word extension is derived from Latin roots, ex, meaning out and tensio, meaning stretching. Extension is that type of education which is stretched out to the people in rural areas and it is not confined in educational institutions like schools, colleges and universities. The term extension originated in England in 1866 with a system of university extension which was taken up first by Cambridge and Oxford universities. In 1873 the Cambridge University first used the term extension education to describe a particular educational innovation. The word extension was allied to the cooperative extension services in USA. 1735 Difference between extension and extension education. Extension and extension education are however different and must not be used interchangeably. Extension may be defined as a method of non-formal education aimed at inducing behavioral changes in its clients for their increased knowledge, skill and income. Rowling, 1982, made the distinction between extension and extension education quite clear. According to him, extension refers to the actual work done by professional extension agents at various levels of management, while extension education refers to the body of knowledge concerning that work practice. Definition of extension education. The National Commission of Agriculture, 1976, refers to extension as an out-of-school education and services for the members of farm family and others directly or indirectly engaged in farm production, to enable them to adopt improved practices in production, management, conservation and marketing. Extension education is an applied behavioral science, whose knowledge is applied to bring about desirable changes in the behavioral complex of human beings, usually through various strategies and programs of change and by applying the latest scientific and technological innovations. Importance. Extension uses democratic methods in educating the farmers. Extension helps in adoption of innovations. Extension helps in studying and solving the rural problems. Extension increases farm yields and improves the standard of living of farmers. Extension makes good communities better and progressive. Extension contributes to national development programs. Objectives of extension education. The fundamental objective of extension education is the overall development of the people. Agricultural extension in our country is primarily concerned with the following main objectives. The dissemination of useful and practical information relating to agriculture, including improved seeds, fertilizers, implements, pesticides, improved cultural practices, dairying, poultry, nutrition, etc. The practical application of useful knowledge to farm and home. 1737. 3. To get feedback from the people about the all aspects latest scientific of the life technology of the rural transferred people with to tamed through different media, and to improve framework of the national, economic and social policies, involving the population as a whole. Difference between formal and extension education. 1738. Formal education 1. Teaching is largely confined to the premises of the institution. The learners are homogeneous with common goals. Strict adherence to institutional norms and no free choice for the learners. There is a fixed curriculum, after completion of which the students are examined and degrees are awarded. Knowledge flows from teacher to the learners. The teacher only instructs the students. Formal education starts with the theoretical and works up to the practical. 1738. Extension education teaching is largely outside the four walls of the institution. The learners are heterogeneous and have diverse goals. Freedom and choice of subject matter left to the learners. There is no fixed curriculum. It is flexible depending on the needs of the learners. No examinations are held and no degrees are awarded. The extension agent also learns from those whom he or she teaches. The extension agent teaches a great deal through local leaders. Extension education starts with practical situation of the learners in which they live and work, and develops into theoretical or basic understanding of them. 1739. Disciplines of extension education. Extension education is non-formal education carried on outside the framework of the formal system to provide selected types of learning to particular subgroups, adults, women as well as children according to their needs. Extension education is applicable in a number of disciplines areas. These are agricultural extension, animal husbandry extension, fishery extension, forestry extension, farm mechanization, agricultural engineering extension, home science extension, medical extension, etc. Agricultural extension, the extension education which helps in extending scientific knowledge of agriculture to the farming community for enhancing agricultural production, processing, marketing including value addition to agricultural produces with the application of latest technology for higher income of the farming community is called agricultural extension. In the present day context, agricultural extension may be viewed as innovative approaches for knowledge management in agriculture and allied sectors by blending of traditional wisdom with frontier science and integrated application of information communication technology, ICT, to disseminate the right information at the right person in the right format at the right time. Role of agricultural extension in agricultural development. Extension education plays a vital role in technology transfer and human resource development by imparting need-based training to the farming community. The important roles played by agricultural extension are presented below. Extension education helps in adoption and diffusion of new technology. It motivates the people to adopt new innovations. Extension education transmits the desired information in an effective manner to its ultimate users, i.e. farmers. Extension helps to change the attitude, knowledge and skills of the farmers. The knowledge so imparted brings about behavioral changes in the desired direction. The farmers improve their skills through learning by doing. Extension education uses democratic method in educating the farmers. It respects the individuality of people in making their own decisions with the help of extension workers. By this, 1740. Where the people grow both in status and self-respect and are able to take rational decisions themselves. Extension education helps in decision-making process. It studies the individual farm situation and helps the farmers in doing the appropriate and relevant technology according to their needs and aspirations. Result demonstration and method demonstration are important extension teaching methods carried out by the extension personnel. This is very effective method for transfer of technology as farmers are motivated by seeing is believing and learning by doing approach. These demonstrations are very useful extension methods for increasing agricultural production in India and developing countries. Apart from demonstrations, field visits, farmers meeting, minikit trial, farm publication, use of media etc. are also important technology dissemination strategies for development of agriculture by public sector agricultural organizations in India. The theory behind this approach had been the diffusion of innovation model developed by Rogers, 1962. Diffusion studies helped agricultural extension workers how to communicate new technologies to farmers and thus how to speed up the diffusion process. Agricultural extension had played an important role in promoting green revolution technologies in South Asia. The training and visit (T&V) system had been proved effective in the areas blessed by the green revolution but less effective in rain-fed areas. Agricultural extension helps farmers organize into groups with farmers interest group, farmers organizations, for development of agribusiness or agricultural entrepreneurship for obtaining higher income and profit. Extension helps train the farm leader or contact farmers. The concept evolved under T&V system. The function of extension therefore is to identify such contact farmers, give them suitable training and encourage them to adopt modern farm technology, so that through these contact farmers the technology may be diffused among other farmers. Several innovative extension approaches with decentralized and demand-driven approach, market-led extension approach, e-extension and use of ICT, expert system extension approach, PPP model etc. have been introduced in agricultural extension for quality production and improvement of standard of living. Extension education helps to get the necessary inputs needed for agricultural production. Finally, the main function of extension is to bridge the gap between the scientists and the farmers. This is done by taking new technology to the doorsteps of the farmers and helping them to adopt it. The introduction of WTO and agricultural trade liberalization as well as global warming and climate change have posed a great challenge to agricultural scientists, extension personnel of government departments and Indian farmers. 1740. Interface between agricultural research, extension and education. Farmer, cultivation, harvesting, post-production activities, marketing. Need for extension. The need for extension arises out vertical bar of the fact that the condition of the rural people in general, and the farm people in particular, has got to be improved. There is a gap between what is the actual situation and what ought to be the desirable situation. This gap has to be narrowed down by the application of science and technology in their enterprises and bringing appropriate changes in their behavior. According to Soup, 1987, the researchers neither have the time nor are they equipped for the job of persuading the villagers to adopt scientific methods and to ascertain from them the rural problems. Similarly, it is difficult for all the farmers to visit the research stations and obtain first-hand information. Thus, there is need for an agency to interpret the findings of research to the farmers and to carry the problems of the farmers to research for solution. This gap is filled by the Extension Agency. The philosophy of extension. Philosophy is the pursuit of wisdom, a body of general principles or laws of a field of knowledge. According to Kelsey and Hearney, 1967, the basic philosophy of extension education is to teach people how to think, not what to think. Extension's specific job is furnishing the inspiration, supplying specific advice and technical help, and counseling to see that the people as individuals, families, groups and communities work together for all-round development of the community. 1741. According to Ensminger, 1957, the philosophy of extension can be expressed in the following line. T is an educational process. Extension is changing the attitude, knowledge, and skills of the people. Extension is working with a man and woman, young people, boys and girls, to answer their needs and their wants. Extension is teaching people what you want and ways to satisfy their wants. Extension is helping people to help themselves. 4. Extension is learning by doing, and seeing is believing. 5. Extension is development of individual leaders, their society, and their world as a whole. Extension is working together to expand the welfare and happiness of people. Extension is working in harmony with the culture of the people. Extension is a living relationship, respect and trust for each other. Extension is two-way channel. And 10. Extension is a continuous, educational process. Objectives of extension. Objectives are expression of the ends towards which our efforts are directed. The fundamental objective of extension is to develop the rural people economically, socially and culturally by means of education. More specifically, the objectives of extension are to assist people to discover and analyze their problems and identify the felt needs, to develop leadership among people and help them in organizing groups to solve their problems, to disseminate research information of economic and practical importance in a way people would be able to understand and use, to assist people in mobilizing and utilizing the resources which they have and which they need from outside, to collect and transmit feedback information for solving management problems. Function of extension. The basic function of any type of education is to bring desirable changes in human behavior, i.e., desirable changes in CASA, knowledge, attitude, skill and action. Extension education is no exception to this. To bring desirable change in behavior is the crucial function of extension. The function of extension is to bring about desirable changes in human behavior by means of education. Changes may be brought about in their knowledge, skill, attitude, understanding, goals, action and confidence. 1743. Change in skill. Change in skill is change technique of doing things. Example, farmers learned the technique of growing high-yielding variety, HYV, crop which they did not know earlier. Farmers who are unskilled in using seed drill machine may become skilled in using the same through the training program. Change in attitude. Attitude is a positive or negative feeling about some psychological object, ideas towards which people can differ. Change in attitude involves change in the feeling or reaction towards certain things. Example, farmers developed a favorable attitude towards high-yielding variety, HYV, crop. Farmers may develop a favorable attitude towards crossbreeding of cattle after seeing success achieved by his fellow farmers. Change in understanding. Change in understanding means change in comprehension. Example, farmers realized the importance of HYV crop in their farming system and the extent to which it was economically profitable and desirable, in comparison to the existing crop variety. Farmers may understand the advantage of rearing a high-yielding dairy animal than a low-yielding one through well-planned extension work. Change in goal. Goal is the distance in any given direction one is expected to go during a given period of time. Example, there is a change in the goal of farmers in crop yield in a particular season from 3 to 5 quintals per hectare by cultivating HYV crop. There is a change in the goal of milk yield from 2 to 10 liters per day per cow through the adoption of high-yielding milch cow. Change in action. Change in action means change in performance or doing things. Example, extension work may change a farmer from cultivating a poor quality crop variety to a HYV crop. Farmers who do not rear crossbred cow earlier may rear it now as a result of an extension program. Change in confidence. Change in confidence involves change in self-reliance. Development of confidence or self-reliance is the solid foundation for making progress. Example, conscious extension effort may make the farmers confident to be able to grow HYV crop to raise crop yield. The landless poor may become confident in raising crossbred cow to increase their income by increased milk yield. 1744. Thus to bring desirable change in behavior is the crucial function of extension. For this purpose the extension workers should continuously seek new information to make extension work more effective. The farmers also on their own initiative should continuously seek means of improving their farm and home. The task is difficult because millions of farm families with little education, scattered in large areas with their own beliefs, values, attitudes, resources and constraints are pursuing diverse enterprises. Principles of extension. Principles are guidelines for taking decision and action towards a desirable direction. A principle is a fundamental truth and an established rule of action. It is neither possible nor desirable to prepare an exhaustive list of extension principles. Principles, fundamental in nature or widely accepted in literature, are described below. Principle of cultural difference. There is a cultural difference between the extension worker and the farmer. Differences exist between the groups of farmers also. The differences may be in their habits, customs, values, attitudes and way of life. Extension work, to be successful, should consider this cultural difference, heterogeneity, while approaching the people in a community. Example, in Muslim culture, pig rearing is prohibited. So, extension work aimed at introducing piggery in a Muslim community will be rejected outright. Grassroots principle. For extension work to be effective and realistic, it must spring from below and spread like grass. Extension programs should start with local groups and organizations, local situations and local problems. It must fit to the local conditions. Extension work should start with where people are and what they have. Change should start from the existing situation. Example, Three-tier Panchayat Raj institution fulfills the grassroots principle of organization in extension. Principle of indigenous knowledge. People in every society have indigenous knowledge systems which they through generations of work experience and problem solving in their own situations. The indigenous knowledge systems encompass all aspects of life and people consider it essential for their survival. Instead of ignoring the indigenous knowledge systems as outdated, the extension agent should try to understand them and their consequences in the life of the people before proceeding to recommend something new to them. Instead of neglecting the local people's knowledge, a judicial utilization of indigenous knowledge blended with scientific knowledge should be the basis of extension work. 1745. 4. Principle of interest and need. Extension work must begin with the interests and needs of the people, needs that are felt by the people, needs that can be fulfilled with the available resources, and the needs that should be fulfilled first. People's interests and people's needs rate a starting point of extension work. Identifying the real needs and interests of the people is a challenging task. The extension agents should not pass on their own needs and interests as those of the people. Extension work shall be successful only when it is based on the interests and needs of the people as they see them. Example, if people are engaged in rearing of dairy cows for selling milk to earn a profit, an extension program should start with the creation of an assured and remunerative market for the milk. 5. Principle of participation, cooperation and participation of people is essential. People cooperate, participate and take responsibility in implementing an extension program which is formulated by themselves with the help of extension worker. Most people of the village community should willingly cooperate and participate in identifying the problems, planning of projects for solving the problems and implementing the projects in getting the desired results. People's participation is of extreme importance for the success of an extension program. People must participate in developing and implementing the program and feel that it is their own program. Example, people participate and cooperate in an extension program which is based on the felt need of the people. India's success story of Amul was mainly due to the cooperation and participation of people. Principle of learning by doing and seeing is believing. Extension work should be based on the principle of learning by doing and seeing is believing for changing people's behavior, knowledge, attitude and skill and building their confidence. Learning by doing is most effective in changing people's skill. Seeing is believing is effective in changing people's attitude. Example, if the purpose of extension is to control pest by using sprayer, then the farmers will be taught how to operate sprayer through learning by doing and showing better yield after spraying the chemicals. Principle of adaptability. Extension work and extension teaching methods must be flexible and adapted to suit the local conditions. It is necessary because the people, their situation, their resources and constraints vary from place to place and time to time. Example, no single extension teaching method is effective under all situations. Literature is useful for the literates, radio is suitable for those who have access to radio, etc. So, there is a need to use a combination of methods based on the circumstances. 1745. Principle of leadership. Community leaders are the and guardians trained to of make the villagers. Extension their education influence. Local their work thought easier. Leaders identifying art and the action. Custodians different so, they types of can local of be leaders thought convinced and working action. Through the involvement. Them is essential of local in leaders extension and legitimization by them are essential for the success of a program. Leadership desirable qualities too should more desirable be developed situation. In the people local so leaders that they should themselves be trained will and seek develop change. From less to act as change agent in the village community. Example, identification and use of opinion leaders will help extension worker to get the work done by them on behalf of extension worker more efficiently and effectively. Whole family principle. Family is the unit of any society. All the members of the family have to be educated and developed simultaneously involving all of them in extension education program. The target for extension work should, therefore, be the family, that is, developing the family as a whole, economically and socially. Not only the farmers, the farm women and farm youth are also to be involved in extension program. Example, the focus of the campaign on International Year of Family Farming, 2009-10, was on individual farm households. Principle of satisfaction. For their betterment people should continue to act out of their own interest which is only possible when they derive full satisfaction through the work of extension. The end product of extension work should produce satisfying results for the people. Satisfying results reinforce learning and motivate people to seek further improvement. Example, the success of Bangladesh Grameen Bank is largely due to the satisfaction of the people who are served by this through the microfinance, small credit, scheme. Principle of evaluation. Evaluation is the assessment of the objectives fulfilled in implementing a course of action. There should be a continuous inbuilt method of finding out the extent to which the results obtained are in agreement with the objectives fixed earlier. Evaluation should indicate the gaps and steps to be taken for further improvement. Scope of extension. Scope means range within which an activity displays itself. Kelsey and Hare, 1967, identified 9 areas of program emphasis, which indicate the scope of agricultural extension. These are efficiency in agricultural production, including value addition of the produce, efficiency in marketing, distribution and utilization, conservation, development, and use of natural resources. 1746, management on the farm and in the home, family living, youth development, leadership development, community development and rural area development, public affairs. Extension is an integral part of agriculture and rural development programs in India. In fact, taking other things constant, the progress in production which has been achieved in agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, veterinary, fishery, forestry, sericulture etc. may be thought of as proportional to the strength of extension service in the particular discipline. Extension education is an integral part of teaching in agriculture, veterinary and animal science, dairy, fishery, forestry, sericulture, home science, rural development, social work, etc. Extension helps in generating knowledge appropriate to the people by finding out their needs and problems. The welfare of the people depends on the extent to which knowledge relevant to them are converted into action. To attain this objective, extension principles and methods are being used in varying degrees in medical, engineering, law and many other disciplines. It is desirable that extension is applied more in various disciplines, so that they can contribute more to the well-being of the people. Human sufferings arising out of problems like overpopulation, illiteracy, ill health, destruction of forests, natural calamities, etc., to mention a few, are in many cases preventable. People can be educated and motivated to take timely action, which shall help in mitigating their sufferings. Extension has immense power in translating knowledge into action. This understanding is important for organizations to work with the people. Qualities of extension personnel. The extension worker, in a country like India, has to have the following qualities to perform his/her job efficiently. He must have a rural background, as far as possible coming from a cultivator's family. He must have some experience of working with village people successfully. He should be acquainted with the nature of problems and the cultural background, otherwise there are chances that the farmers may not like him and he may be faced with failure in playing his role. He must have adjustability in village circumstances. 1746. He must have a thorough knowledge of the subjects with which he is concerned and be able to he give must correct be honest, replies to sincere any questions and hard-working asked by the and villagers. Have a high general intelligence. He should be a sincere worker and not a show-off. To achieve his goal and direct all his efforts in that he should have the firm determination. Direction. He should be prompt and able to influence the villagers in a positive way. He should be humble, polite, and friendly towards the villager. He should have a cool temperament. He should listen to others, respect their opinions and think over their problems and suggestions carefully. He should hold the ideal of simple living and high thinking. His attitude should be that of service and helpfulness. He should always be in search of new ideas and techniques. He should read the available literature and approach the subject specialists, research workers and others to acquaint himself with up-to-date ideas and new ways of solving the villagers' problems. Apart from the above qualities, the extension worker should have following competencies. 1. Technical competency, ability of extension worker to acquire, understand and apply technical information for the people. Example, extension worker should know how to handle audiovisual aids, equipments, etc. 2. Scientific competency, it relates to the ability of extension worker to understand the cause and effect relationship. 3. Occupational competency, it includes the ability of extension worker to conduct trial, demonstrations and to interpret the result. 4. Communication competency, to communicate appropriate message in appropriate time to the people. Social competency, ability of extension worker to understand the social system and to become sociable with the people. Economic competency, organization of economic activity like formation of SHG, income generation for women empowerment. 1748, the extension educational process. Extension education steps is discussed as a participatory on the bus process and involves 5 essential and interrelated steps. The sequence of steps is discussed on the basis of concept developed by Liggins, 1967. 3. Teaching, what to teach and how to teach. 2. Objectives. 4. Evaluation, what should be, what has been the result. 1. Situation. 5. Reconsideration, what it is now, what next to do. First step. The first step, an analysis of the situation. Facts about the people and their enterprises, the economic, social, cultural, physical and technological environment in which they live and work are collected. These may be obtained by appropriate survey and establishing rapport with the people. The responses obtained are to be analyzed with the local people to identify the problems and resources available in the community. For example, after a survey in a community and analysis of the data, the problem was identified as low income of the farm family from feed crop production enterprise. Second step. The next step is deciding on realistic objectives which may be accomplished by the community. A limited number of objectives should be selected by involving the local people. The objectives should be specified and clearly stated, and on completion should bring satisfaction to the community. Objectives should state the behavioral changes in people as well as economic and social outcomes desired. In the example, the problem was identified as low income from crop production enterprise. A deeper probe into the data revealed that low income was due to low yield of crops, attributed to the use of local seeds with low yield potential, application of little fertilizer and lack of protection measures. By taking into consideration the capacity and competency of the people in the community and the availability of resources, the objective was set up to increase the crop yield by 20% within a certain period of time. It was estimated that the increased yield shall bring increased income, which shall enhance the family welfare. 1749. Step is teaching, which, the involves methods choosing and aids what to be should used. Be it taught requires, select in, content. 3rd and how step the 3rd of economic should be taught relevant to the community and selection. People importance. Research and combination methods. Findings of appropriate problems and teaching practical unaids. Example, technologies like use of HWY. Based on the fertilizer and identified plant protection in the particular measures were selected as teaching content. Seeds, demonstration, application of method demonstration, and slides. Farmers were training selected and as teaching farm publications aids were chosen. Result as teaching methods, and tape recorder. 4th step. The 4th step is evaluating the teaching, i.e. determining the extent to which the objectives have been reached. To evaluate the results of an educational program objectively, it is desirable to conduct a resurvey. The evidence of changed behavior should be collected, which shall not only provide a measure of success, but shall also indicate the deficiencies, if any. In the example, the resurvey after the fixed period of time indicated that the crop yield had increased by 10%. It, therefore, indicated that there was a gap of 10% in crop yield in comparison to the target, objective, of 20% fixed earlier. The resurvey also indicated that there had been two important deficiencies in carrying out the extension educational program, such as, there was lack of proper water management and the farmers could not apply the fertilizer and plant protection measures as per recommendation due to lack of funds. Fifth step. The fifth step is reconsideration of the entire extension educational program on the light of the results of evaluation. The problems identified in the process of evaluation may become the starting point for the next phase of the extension educational program unless new problems have developed or new situations have arisen. After reconsideration of the results of evaluation with the people, the following teaching objectives were again set up. For example, these were training the farmers on proper water management practices and putting up demonstrations on credit water in time management. To purchase the people critical were inputs. Also advised to contact the banks for obtaining production. People thus, from the a less continuous desirable process to a more of desirable extension situation. Education shall go on, resulting in progress of the 1750. 2. Agriculture extension in India, overview, current status. Although contribution of agriculture in overall GDP of the country has come down over the years, and hovers around 17% currently, India is still predominantly an agrarian rural economy in terms of people living in rural areas 69%, as per census 2011, and around 47% of its workforce engaged in agriculture, Labour Bureau, 2015-16. Moreover, around 270 million people in the country, 22% of India's population, live below the poverty line as per international definition of $1.9 per capita per day income in PPP terms, of which 80% reside in rural areas. Given this huge dependency of rural households on agriculture, it has become imperative to focus on its growth in order to ensure food security and eliminate poverty in the country. However, India's agriculture growth in the 1990s and 2000s stagnated at around 3%, which was lower than the targeted growth rate of 4%. In developing countries such as India, public spending on agriculture is one of the most important government instruments for promoting economic growth and alleviating poverty in rural areas. Amongst various types of government spending for agriculture, agricultural R&D is said to be one of the most critical for promoting farm yields. The definition of agriculture research and extension used is from the combined finance and revenue accounts of the center and states. The duality in extension is divided into extension education and extension training. Agriculture research and education, R&E, includes extension education, while extension and training includes frontline and field extension. In India, as a percentage of gross domestic product from agriculture, GDPA, the public funding for agriculture R&E amounts to about 0.54%, 2014-15. Moreover, spending on agriculture R&E shows that there are considerable variations across regions. Excluding the northeastern region, most of the eastern states spend less than 0.5% of its GDPA on agriculture R&E, while states like Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala and Tamil Nadu spend more than 0.8% of its GDPA on agriculture R&E. This shows that the eastern states, which are also a few of the poorest states in the country with high dependency on agriculture and low agriculture productivity, are also the states with the lowest spending on agriculture R&E. In 2010-11, the government initiated the program of bringing green revolution to eastern India in order to address the constraints limiting the productivity of rice-based cropping pattern in this region. In order to improve agriculture productivity in this region, scaling up of agriculture R&E and extension funding will be critical. Currently, the agriculture R&E system in India is dominated by the public sector and is led by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICAR. After the discontinuation of the World Bank's Training and Visiting (T&V) program in the early 1990s, the Indian government, with the support of World Bank, introduced the Agriculture Technology Management Agency, ATMA, in 1998. 1750. ATMA created a platform for convergence of human and financial resources available in the government, civil society, farm community and private sector. The ATMA society registered at the district level was mandated to coordinate all ongoing extension efforts in the district and converge and share resources in a targeted fashion. In 2014-15, the Government of India introduced the National Mission on Agriculture Extension and Technology, NMAIT, in order to take a holistic view of extension by making the system farmer-driven and increase accountability by restructuring and strengthening existing agriculture extension programs to enable the delivery of technology and to improve the current agronomic practices of farmers under 4 submissions, namely I. Submission on Agricultural Extension, SME, 2. Submission on Seed and Planting Material, SMSP, 3. Submission on Agricultural Mechanization, SMAM, and 4. Submission on Plant Protection and Plant Quarantine, SMPP. Overview of Agriculture Extension System, Major Players in India. India has one of the largest agricultural research systems in the world. Currently, the public research system in India is led by the ICAR, which has 5 multidisciplinary national institutes, 45 central research institutes, 30 national research centers, NRCs, 4 bureaus, 10 project directorates, 80 All India Coordinated Research Projects, AICRPs, networks and 16 other projects programs. In addition, there are 29 state agricultural universities, SAUs, and 1 central agricultural university, which operates through 313 research stations. This extensive agriculture research infrastructure not only conducts agriculture research but are also responsible for educating and providing extension services to the farmers. Agriculture extension services by the public sector. Since the early 1950s, India has witnessed a long history of Planned Agriculture Extension Service (AES) intervention. Government's Community Development Program, 1952, and National Extension Service, 1953, were the first planned attempts to educate farmers about improved methods of farming. The other important area-based special programs were Intensive Agricultural District Program, 1960, Intensive Agriculture Area Program, 1964, and High Yielding Varieties Program, 1966. In 1967, farmers' training centers were created to educate farmers about high-yielding varieties and train them in improved methods of farming to augment the above programs. The extension system, along with price policy and procurement support, has often been credited for ushering in the Green Revolution in India in the 1960s. However, by the end of the 1970s, the Indian public agriculture extension system witnessed a slow decline. By this time, the system was predominantly involved in the distribution of agricultural inputs through the state agriculture depots, and in the handling of subsidies that were provided through various agricultural 1751 development programs. Consequently, the system was criticized for having become a monolith organization without any specific goals. One World Bank's Training and Visiting (TNV) program. Due to the growing inefficiencies of the public extension service system, reforms in the system were sought. To meet this need, World Bank's Training and Visiting (TNV) program was introduced as a pilot program in Rajasthan in 1974. Under TNV, agriculture extension was expected to act as a transmission belt between agricultural research centers and farmers by recruiting, training and deploying large and dedicated cadre of technical workers with formal training in agriculture technology. Extension workers were allotted a specific area and cluster of farmers to work with scheduled visits through the crop cycle to ensure that advice was followed. Financial support by Government of India to the states to recruit and sustain the extension workers was the major driver for the latter to participate practically in this project. The TNV-based agriculture extension system, AES, played a key role in ensuring the success of the Green Revolution in several regions of the country, notably states like Punjab, Haryana, parts of western Uttar Pradesh, as also coastal districts of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. While the focus of the early AES was on the demonstration of high-yielding varieties of seeds and agronomic practices and training farmers in adopting the same, it also played a major role in ensuring timely availability of inputs such as seeds, fertilizers and agricultural chemicals. TNV cohabited with alternative methods of diffusing technologies in many states in India. Since this program was funded by the World Bank, a major issue relating to the program was the sustainability of funding. Further, high requirement and quality of staffs became other major concerns. In the early 1990s, when the World Bank funding stopped, the extension system had to be maintained by central and state government funds, which resulted in the slow decay of the TNV system as it became ineffective in several states. 2. Agriculture Technology Management Agency, ATMA. In 1998, the Indian government, with the support of World Bank, introduced the Agriculture Technology Management Agency, ATMA, under the Innovation in Technology Dissemination, ITD, component of the National Agricultural Technology Project, NAP. It was first introduced in 28 districts in 7 states from 1998 to 2003 under the guidance of MANAGE, National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management, an institution promoted by Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. It was later expanded throughout the country in 2005. ATMA sought to sidestep the challenge of taking on the financial burden of a large cadre of permanent extension workers, which was left to the states to cope with. Instead, ATMA created a platform for convergence of human and financial resources available in the government, civil society, farm community and private sector. 1752. Share vast resources the mandated ATMA in society A to targeted coordinate registered all at ongoing the district initiated extension level with the efforts they preparation collected district into district of art strategic magistra converge research ascended. Head efficient. ATMA Extension Plan, SREP, at the district level. The SREP listed out the existing extension programs inter-district and gaps required to be filled. It also identified the research extension linkages which forms the basis of the state extension work plan. The ATMA governing board at the state level set out the priorities for research and extension to be implemented in each district. After the SREP was approved, the Farm Information and Advisory Centers, FIAC, at the district level, the block level teams, BTT, and the Farmer Advisory Committee, FAC, were responsible for the extension activities in the district. Existing extension staff, with legacy gaps, still formed the backbone of the ATMA approach. At the state level, an apex planning and training body, the State Agricultural Management and Extension Training Institute, SAM, TI, was established, with the aim of training various levels of extension staff in the convergence-led approach of ATMA. The main goal of ATMA was to bring together different agencies involved in extension activities on one platform. However, it struggled from the very beginning with issues of planning, execution and monitoring capacity at the district level as well as inadequate funding. There were also gaps in the autonomy of the district-level bodies, approach towards high-value sectors and engagement with non-government bodies. This led to serious divergence in the promise and performance of Atma across most states. Though small and isolated examples of success were noted, the majority of evaluation studies have concluded that Atma failed to make any notable impact on the quality of extension services or add significantly to resources at the district level to upgrade the quality of AES. Government of India responded to this feedback by revamping Atma in 2010. While the basic concept was retained, several new elements were added to make the program more effective in achieving convergence and mopping up various resources available at the district level. The primary challenge of providing additional human resources to support extension was sought to be addressed through additional contractual technical staff at the block level. The new guidelines also brought in the concept of a farmer's friend for every 2 villages. This part-time functionary is meant to be selected from among the farming community, building on the assumption that he will enjoy greater local connect and knowledge of the local ecosystem. The number of subject matter specialists, both at the district and state level, was also increased. Farmer advisory committees were mobilized to tap the functional expertise of progressive farmers. Farm schools were to be formed in every crop season to promote lateral sharing of knowledge between farmers themselves. 1753. Krishi Vigyan Kendra, KVK, primarily tasked with research and trial of locally suitable crop varieties, was roped in for direct farmer outreach, demonstrations and training. Collaboration with the private sector and NGOs was made simpler, with more powers and resources delegated to state-level authorities. Early assessment of the revamped program does not suggest that these changes could rescue Atma from the several challenges in which it was mired since its launch. National Mission on Agriculture Extension and Technology, NMAIT. The feedback on the performance of Atma through various evaluation studies and the observations of the Working Group on Extension set up by the Planning Commission to prepare for the 12th Five-Year Plan paved the way a comprehensive new national scheme to address extension services. The National Mission on Agriculture Extension and Technology, NMAIT, was launched by the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, DAF, in 2014-15 and takes a holistic view of extension by embedding components for technical support and training in 4 major sub-schemes. It aims to make the system farmer-driven and accountable by restructuring and strengthening existing agriculture extension programs to enable the delivery of technology and to improve the current agronomic practices of farmers. NMAIT consists of 4 submissions. Submission on Agricultural Extension, SME. Submission on Seed and Planting Material, SMSP. Submission on Agricultural Mechanization, SMAM. Submission on Plant Protection and Plant Quarantine, SMPP. Submission on Agricultural Extension, SME, aims to focus on creating awareness about the latest technologies to be used by the agriculture and allied sectors. There will be increased training of personnel under agriculture clinics and agriculture business centers. A lot of emphasis has been placed on use of ICT interventions like pico projectors, low-cost films, handheld devices, mobile-based services, Kisan call centers, KCCs, etc. to speed up dissemination of information, good practices, etc. It is also pertinent to point out that Government of India has significantly altered the funding pattern in 2015, reducing the central share from 90% to 10%. Public Agriculture Extension System, other players. I. Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Krishi Vigyan Kendras, KVK, are the field research units of the National Agricultural Research System, the Indian Council for Agricultural Research ICAR, and are meant to test new seed varieties, agronomic practices, machinery, etc. in field conditions across different agroclimatic zones before these are cleared for adoption by farmers. The KVK initiative was launched in 1974 and has grown into 611 centers by the end of 2011, ensuring at least 1 KVK in each district of the country. Besides research, these institutions also 1754 conduct farmer outreach programs through on-farm demonstration plots, training, etc. However, despite their impressive network, KVKs are seen as underperformers in terms of reaching out to large numbers of farmers and have faced severe challenges of capacity, performance standards and accountability. Figure 1. Major impacts reported by KVKs on their technologies disseminated. Source, Primary Survey by Neelad, 2015. Krishi Vigyan Kendra, KVK, is an innovative science-based institution which undertakes vocational training of farmers, farm women and rural youths, conducts on-farm research for technology refinement and frontline demonstrations to promptly demonstrate the latest agricultural technologies to the farmers as well as the extension workers. The KVK functions on the principles of collaborative participation of scientists, subject matter experts, extension workers and farmers. Imparting learning through work experience to those who are engaged in farming is the main purpose of KVKs. The syllabus and program of each KVK is tailored to the felt needs of the farmers, resources and potential for agricultural growth in a particular area. Teaching by doing and learning by doing are the main methods of imparting skill training. The first KVK was established in 1974 in Pondicherry under Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, TNAU. Recently there has been a shift in the approach and objectives of the KVK. While initially the emphasis was mainly on human resource development through training the farmers and extension workers, now the KVKs also participate in the process of agri-technology development and refinement. Emphasis is also on employment generation to bring about equality of opportunities for socio-economically deprived class of farmers and traditionally backward areas in the country including dry land areas. 1754. In the present context of agricultural development where participation of farmers and extension agencies has become imperative in the technology generation process, the mandate of the KVKs has been widened to encompass on-farm research and frontline demonstrations. The detailed mandates are as follows. Collaborate with the subject matter specialists of the state agricultural universities, scientists of the regional research station, NAPE and the state extension personnel in, on-farm testing, refining and documenting technologies for developing region-specific sustainable land use systems. Organize training to update the extension personnel within the area of operation with emerging advances in agricultural research on regular basis. Organize long-term vocational training courses in agriculture and allied vocations for the rural youths with emphasis on learning by doing, for generating self-employment through institutional financing. Organize frontline demonstration in various crops to generate production data and feedback information. The KVK is a fully fledged institution consisting of its own buildings, demonstration farm and units, equipments, vehicles, etc. The building facilities include main KVK building, farmers' hostel, staff quarters and demonstration units. The demonstration farm is normally laid down on the 20 hectares farm land. Based on the mandates, the following activities are performed. On-farm research in service training, vocational training of farmers, farm women, rural youths, etc. Frontline demonstration and other extension activities. On-farm research, OFR. On-farm research is an adaptive research which is conducted on farmers' fields by the farmers with the support from scientists, subject matter specialists. It is conducted with a farming systems perspective. The main objective of OFR is to identify existing inputs DF practices that might help solve major problems of many farmers in a defined study area. Farming system perspective implies seeing things from the farmer's viewpoints. In service training, the KVKs has been given the responsibility of conducting in-service training of grassroots level extension workers like VEWs and others working in government and non-government development organizations. 1755. These training programs are normally arranged in collaboration with the State Department of Agriculture and State Agricultural University. The importance of such training programs has increased since the introduction of a Panchayat Raj system in the country. 3. Vocational training of farmers. This had been the major mandate of the KVKs in the past and will continue to be so in future as well. The objective is to organize long-term vocation-based and skill-oriented training for farmers, farm women, rural youths and school dropouts so that they could adopt new methods of farming and increase farm income. Thus, the emphasis is not on crops but on vocations. The potential trainees are selected by the KVK staff in consultation with the district development departments. 4. Frontline demonstrations, FLD, and other extensional activities. The KVKs organize frontline demonstrations which aim at demonstrating the potentialities of newly released and pre-released production technologies of cereals, pulses and oilseeds and farmers' fields. These are called frontline demonstrations because the technologies are demonstrated for the first time before being fed into the main extension system. The KVKs have also been given the responsibility of conducting at least some good integrated farming system demonstration which could serve as model for extension agencies. B. State Agricultural Universities. The state agricultural universities, SAU, are another important arm for promoting extension activities in the states. While their main mandate is formal degree programs in major agricultural disciplines, they provide extension and training support through the Directorate of Extension and Education. The information flow is mainly from the universities to the KVKs which are responsible for training farmers. The information flow is largely linear, with little scope for feedback from farmers. Another criticism is that the information flow largely reflects centralized agendas rather than catering to local needs, with the major focus being on transfer of technology. A holistic approach at support to the entire production chain, including post-harvest management, is missing. C. ICT, Information and Communication Technology, led extension. An important reform undertaken in recent years by the Ministry of Agriculture at the national level has been the increasing use of modern technologies and communication strategies to help educate farmers. ICT has significant potential to reach large numbers of farmers in a cost-effective manner. It can also facilitate two-way information flows between farmers and the extension agencies. Here we focus on some of the schemes launched in the past 3 years. 1. Farmers Portal. Farmers Portal is a platform where farmers can access information on crop insurance, storage, crop advisories, extension activities, seeds, pesticides, farm machinery, fertilizers, market prices, etc. Farmers can download a handbook which provides details of schemes and guidelines of various schemes and programs. 1756. M-Kisan. M-Kisan is an SMS portal that enables authorities at the central and state level to give information to farmers in the local language. There are several free, mobile-based applications, or apps as they are commonly referred to, such as Kisan Suvidha, Pusa Krishi, Agricultural Market, Bhuvan Hailstorm, etc. providing various types of information to farmers through mobile phones. Kisan Call Center. These toll-free, 1-800-180-1551, phone-based agricultural advisory services in local languages are operational in most states with financial assistance provided Government of India. A single number is offered to farmers for seeking information and advice on a range of agriculture-related issues. Subject matter specialists are available at these centers to respond to calls. In case the queries require specialist consultation, a callback facility is also operational. In several states, the KCC has achieved fairly impressive levels of penetration. Kisan TV channel, a dedicated 24-hour television channel on agriculture, was launched by the national broadcaster, Doordarshan in 2015. Delivering content in several major regional languages, besides Hindi, the Kisan channel provides real-time information on inputs, farming techniques, water conservation etc. to the farmers. Agriculture Clinic and Agriculture Business Centers. AKABT. The AKABT scheme was launched in 2002 and was targeted at young rural agriculture graduates who wanted to turn entrepreneurs seeking to provide fee-based agriculture services to farmers. The scheme involves mandatory training and subsidy to set up a rural service center, often supported by a bank loan. ACABCs were to provide a range of services, including sale of inputs, agriculture advice, marketing support etc. A mandatory 2-month training at the National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management, MANAGE, at Hyderabad was designed to instill the basis of business management among aspiring agriculture entrepreneurs. Agriculture fairs and exhibitions. These events have become a common feature in most states and are often effective in demonstrating new technologies and products. Some states, like Gujarat, organize an elaborate fortnight-long Krishi Mahotsav, which literally means Festival of Agriculture, where mobile vans fitted with video screens and field staff move along a pre-announced route, showing films, holding discussions, selling inputs etc. These fairs also provide an opportunity for exchange of ideas as well as knowledge and experience among farmers. Agriculture extension services by the private sector, NGOs and civil society. At present, extension services are being provided mainly by the public sector through a 2-tier system. As mentioned earlier, at the central level, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICAR, is the nodal institute for agriculture research and extension, while at the state level, the state agricultural universities, SAU, facilitate agriculture extension via the Krishi Vigyan Kendra, KVKs, and Agriculture Technology Management Agency, ATMA, at the district level. Besides the existing public extension service system, there are several private players, civil society organizations including farmer-based organizations and NGOs that play a major role in financing and providing extension services. 1756. 1. Agriculture extension system by private players. AES in private sector are mostly delivered by input dealers, such as those marketing seeds, fertilizers, pesticide and farm machinery. Some private sector agribusiness and input manufacturing companies also undertake direct extension activities. Hyderabad-based Nujividu Seeds has done a lot of extension-related work through its program, Subij Krishi Vignan. These extension activities are in support of their product brand and seek to help the farmer realize higher production and thus returns, through necessary pre-sowing preparation, optimum seed rate, correct agronomic practices, application of nutrients and harvesting techniques. In the case of fertilizer companies, especially large cooperatives like IFFCO, Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited, and CRIPCO, Krishak Bharti Cooperative, extension activities include a wider range of interventions, such as conducting farmer meetings, organizing crop seminars, arranging for soil testing facilities, adopting villages etc. Tata Chemicals initiated Tata Kisan Kendras with the objective of empowering and enabling farmers towards improved agronomic practices and higher returns. DCM Shriram, which also produces seeds and fertilizers, established Haryali Kisan Bazaar, HKB, a chain of agriculture input retail stores which also offered marketing support for select produce. Farmers could also access technical information on agri inputs and banking and farm credit facilities through the HKBs. Agrocell, an agrochemical company, provided inputs and necessary technical guidance to farmers through its Agrocell service centers in many states. The commercial model adopted by both Tata and DCM Shriram proved unsustainable, leading to closure of the majority of centers initially launched. A similar fate awaited Mahindra Shubhlabh, which was closely modeled on the Tata centers. ITC, another agribusiness major, launched its eChaupal initiative in extension over a decade ago. A VSAT-enabled internet connection at the village level allowed farmers to check prices in the local mandis before they moved their produce for sale. This helped to reduce information asymmetry to a great extent and forced the mandis to adopt fairer price discovery processes. ITC also purchased small quantities of select commodities at these centers for its own trading and processing needs. The eChaupal also provided access to information about weather and innovative farming practices to the farmers. Other initiatives taken by ITC include the Chaupal Sagas and Chaupal Pradarshan Khet, CPK. Chaupal Sagas mainly comprise of collection and storage facilities which create a hypermarket in rural areas that serves multiple services under one roof. Chaupal Pradarshan Khet is a demonstration plot which helps farmers to learn best agronomic practices to enhance their farm productivity. Companies like PepsiCo and Heritage Foods, which undertake contract farming of potato and vegetables respectively, also work closely with farmers to provide inputs, technical advice and marketing services. None of these models, however, operate at a scale of over a few thousand. 1757. The limit, thereby restricting the scope of impact that they make on the wider farming ecosystem. Normally, private extension is ACIV in irrigated areas, where more intensive and commercial crops are raised, in dealing with big farmers, in plantation RS, and in promoting their own products in rest of the areas. In the process, the larger majority constituting the small and marginal farmers, especially in rain-fed and remote areas, are left unattended to by private sector. The public extension therefore has to continue to serve on priority the small and marginal farmers. They should remain their primary focus. Agriculture extension system by non-governmental or voluntary organizations, NGOs. In India, about NGOs are actively involved in development of rural areas. Their grassroots orientation and productivity to work in rain-fed and tribal regions has naturally oriented them towards land-based livelihoods, hence the essential component of extension in their intervention. Some NGOs, such as Professional Assistance for Development Action, Pradhan, Bharatiya Agro Industries Federation, BAIF, and Action for Food Production, AFPRO, are actively involved in promoting extension activities in more than one state. Pradhan has mainly focused on promoting livelihood of the poor in different sectors ranging from agriculture and natural resource management to micro at fitter price in rural areas across 8 states in India. BAIF is also working on the development of livelihoods by engaging in livestock development, environment conservation, water resource management across 16 states. Syngenta Foundation, India, SFI, has been instrumental in helping marginalized farmers adopt high-quality production technology for better time spike productivity and improved incomes through unique models of agriculture extension. In 2014, SFI introduced its flagship initiative of the Agri-Entrepreneur (AE) model, which brought together unemployed youth with an aptitude for entrepreneurial activity to take the role of agri-entrepreneurs. The critical role of an AE is to bring together credit and market linkage, access to high-quality input and crop advisory for a cluster of farmers. CRIPCO, the fertilizer cooperative, launched a not-for-profit entity called Gramin Vikas Trust (GVT), which promotes holistic rural development activities. This organization is working across 8 states and specializes in the field of agriculture, watershed development, natural resource management, livelihood improvement, women empowerment, institutional development, etc. Agriculture extension system through farmer interest groups, farmer producer groups, women farmer groups, etc. Organized user groups such as commodity groups, farmer interest groups, farmer clubs, women farmer groups, special interest groups, etc. also play small but important roles in extension in niche regions and areas. One of the most successful farmer organizations in Maharashtra, Mahagrape, Grape Growers Association BEF Maharashtra, has organized itself to support members to achieve higher yield, quality and returns. It conducts training, seminars, group discussions. 1758. Publishes leaflets and also undertakes R&E and other activities to benefit its members. In South India, the United Planters Association of Southern India, UPASI, which is the apex body of tea, coffee, rubber and cardamom growers, is involved in leadership, research and extension services for the plantation industry. Due to the important role played by farmer groups, both informal and formal, in supporting extension activities, many state governments have taken a keen interest in promoting farmer self-help groups, SHGs. Producer cooperatives and farmer producer organizations have in many instances provided extension service to their members. Challenges in agricultural extension category. Challenges: human resource development, HRD, inadequate resources, human, physical and financial skill deficit including ICT skills, inadequate competency and skills of extension, functionaries, poor performance incentives for public extension officers, linkages, poor linkages, research, extension, farmer, market, lack of convergence, poor linkages between public, private and public-private. Finance, credit deficit, release of funds, procedural delays and lack of transparency, policy and governance, low political priority and support for extension, inadequate operational flexibility, weak accountability towards user systems, farmers, weak public-private partnership, absence of current-day adjusted extension policy, market linkages, lack of market and profit orientation, lack of focus on value addition infrastructure, poor infrastructure, mobility, connectivity, ICT management, top-down approach in programming and decision-making, lack of farmers' participation in extension planning and implementation. 1759. Redefining agriculture extension, recommendations by the DFI committee. Co-opting and converging the multiplicity of public, private and not-for-profit extension services. It would also be necessary to formulate situation-specific and region-specific protocols. Rejuvenating the ATMA, the Agriculture Technology Management Agency, ATMA, was conceived as a multi-agency platform for addressing shortcomings of agricultural extension, including convergence of agriculture and allied sectoral services, gender equity, and linking farmers to markets. A bottom-up system of participatory planning involving the block and district-level farmer advisory committees shaping the Strategic Research Extension Plan, SREP, coupled with the autonomy and decentralized decision-making structures as originally envisaged for the ATMA, needs to be implemented. Reinventing agricultural extension. In expanding upon the cooperative model of collectivization, farmers all over the country are also keen to organize into producer groups and farmer-producer organization, including companies. Besides influencing the farming strategies through intensification, diversification and input management, extension needs to develop greater market orientation and to facilitate thought leadership among farmers themselves. Capacity building of extension functionaries. It is recommended that a comprehensive program of capacity building be designed for extension functionaries across the country to hone their skills in mobilization and formation of producer groups, linking the groups to post-production activities that allow small farmers to link directly with terminal wholesale, and to capture greater value. The manage, EIs and SAMETIs should assume responsibility for reskilling and capacitating the extension personnel at all levels. 6. Agribusiness-oriented extension system. Extension service can organize more buyers' meets to expand scope for direct selling by farmers, and to explore contract farming. 18 o'clock. Where possible, besides farmer-producer organizations and village producer organizations, networking of institutions and knowledge base, managed should take the lead in developing a platform for knowledge convergence and serve as the nucleus of this network. Public-private partnership, PPP, mode through KVKs. Each KVK is in possession of about 50 acres of land, which provides ample opportunity for developing agribusiness enterprises. Downstream institutional linkages. India has a very expansive network of scientific institutions and extension organizations. It is important to have organic linkages among managed, regional level EEIs and state level SAMETIs through both governance and financial obligations. XICT based extension services need to be promoted. Leveraging IGT to reach out to farmers will streamline information flow, reduce load on manpower, and provide for real time information, among other advantages. Gender concerns about women in farming can be addressed by enrolling women as farmer friends and by developing schemes that are women centric. Revisiting curriculum in agriculture universities. Reinventing agriculture extension with an agribusiness orientation is a process of change that should begin with curricular changes in agriculture education. There is a need to revisit the agriculture education curriculum to orient students towards enhancement of farmers' income. 1801. 3. Extension teaching methods. Definition. According to Legans, 1961, extension teaching methods are the devices used to create situations in which communication can take place between the instructor and the learner. Extension teaching methods are categorized as individual methods, group methods, and mass methods. Each of the methods has both advantages and limitations. The extension agent has to choose a particular method or combination of methods according to the needs of the situation. Individual methods. In this method, the extension agent communicates with tail people individually, maintaining separate identity of each person. This method is followed when the number of people to be contacted are few, are conveniently located close to the communicator, and sufficient time is available for communication. Examples: farm and home visit, farmers call, etc. Advantages: helps the extension agent in building rapport, facilitates gaining first-hand knowledge of farm and home, helps in selecting demonstrators and local leaders, helps in changing attitude of the people, helps in teaching complex practices, facilitates transfer of technology, enhances effectiveness of group and mass methods, facilitates getting feedback information. Limitations: this method is time-consuming and relatively expensive, has low coverage of audience. Extension agent may develop favoritism or bias towards some persons. Group methods. A group may be defined as an aggregate of small number of people in reciprocal communication and interaction around some common interest. In this method, the extension agent communicates with the people in groups and not as individual persons. This method is adopted when it is necessary to communicate with a number of people simultaneously, who are located not far off from the communicator, and reasonably good time is available for communication. Here, group participation and formation of group opinion are important. In this situation, there may be a few communicators such as the extension agent and some subject matter specialists. 1801. The size 50 of to a small 100 persons. Group may examples be group from training, of 15 group to 25. Field method: a medium day are group result from demonstration. Study 25 to 50 to and method large demonstration. Group from group meeting, small or farmers day. Advantages: enables the extension agent to have face-to-face contact with a number of people at a time. Can reach a selected part of the target group. Facilitates sharing of knowledge and experience and thereby strengthen learning of the group members. Reach fewer people, but offer more opportunities for interaction and feedback. 5. Satisfies the basic urge of people for social contacts. Motivate people to accept change due to group influence. More effective than mass method in stimulating action. Less expensive than individual method due to more coverage. Limitations: wide diversity in the interest of group members may create a difficult learning situation. Vested interests, caste groups and village factions may hinder free interaction and decision making by the group members. Mass methods: in this method, the extension agent communicates with a vast and heterogeneous mass of people, without taking into consideration their individual or group identity. The normal group boundary gets obliterated. This method is followed where a large and widely dispersed audience is to be communicated within a short time. There may be a few communicators such as the extension agent and some subject matter specialists. The size of the audience may be a few hundreds in mass meeting, few thousands in campaign and exhibition, and millions in newspaper, radio and television. Advantages: suitable for creating general awareness amongst the people. Helps in transferring knowledge and forming and changing opinions. Large number of people may be communicated within a short time. Facilitates quick communication in times of emergency. Less expensive due to more coverage. Limitations: less intensive method. Little scope for personal contact with the audience. Little opportunity for interaction with and amongst the audience. 1802. Generalized recommendations hinder application by individuals. Little control over the responses of the audience. Difficulty in getting feedback, information and evaluation of results. Classification of extension teaching methods. A. According to use, the teaching methods adopted in extension may be classified according to use are as follows. Individual methods. Group methods. Mass methods: farm and home visit, farmers call, personal letter. Adaptive or minikit: farm clinic, flag method, trial result, demonstration method, demonstration, group meeting, small group, training, field day or farmers day, study tour, farm publication, mass meeting, campaign, exhibition, newspaper, radio, television, mobile short message service, SMS. B. Classification according to form: written, spoken, visual or objectives, spoken and visual, bulletins, leaflets, news articles, personal letters, circular letters, general and special meetings. Farm and home visits: office calls, telephone calls, radio result, demonstrations, exhibits, posters, motion pictures. 5. Charts, slides and other visual aids. 1. Method: demonstration meetings. 2. Meeting and result: demonstration meeting involving motion pictures, charts and other visual aids, television. I. Individual methods. 1. Farm and home visit. Farm and home visit is a direct, Face-to-face contact by the extension agent with the farmer or homemaker at their farm or home for extension work. 1805. Objectives to get acquainted with and gain confidence of farmers and homemakers. To obtain and or give first-hand information on matters relating to farm and home. To advise and assist in solving specific problems, and teach skills. To sustain interest. Limitations or only limited number of contacts may be made. Or time-consuming and costly method. Or attention may be concentrated on a few big and progressive persons, neglecting the large number of small, marginal, tribal farmers, landless labor and backward people which may prejudice them. 2. Farmers call is a call made by a farmer or homemaker at the working place of the extension agent for obtaining information and assistance. Objectives to get quick solution of problems relating to farm and home. To enable the farmer and homemaker to bring specimens for proper identification of the problem. To ensure timely supply of inputs and services. To act as a reminder to the extension agent. Limitations or being away from the situation, it may be difficult for the extension agent to understand the problem in its proper perspective. Or extension agent may not be available all the time. Personal letter is written by the extension agent to particular farmer or homemaker in connection with extension work. This should not be regarded as a substitute for personal contact. Objectives to answer to queries relating to problems of farm and home. To send information or seek cooperation on important extension activities. Technique or send the letter in time, or if a letter has already been received, send a prompt reply. Or the content should be clear, complete, to the point and applicable to farmer's own situation. Or, use simple language. 1805. 4. Adaptive or minikit trial. Adaptive or minikit trial is a method of determining the suitability or efficacy of a new practice in farmer's situation. This may be regarded as an on-farm participatory technology development process, in which farmer's choice and farmer's opinion about the practice are most important. This is the first stage a new and improved practice passes through, before it is taken up for result or method demonstration, or recommended for large-scale adoption. Minikits are, however, distributed for assisting the poor farmers or in times of distress, to maintain farm productivity. Objectives to test a new and promising practice under the resources, constraints and abilities of the farmer. To find out the benefits of the new practice in comparison to the existing one. 3. To build up confidence of the extension agents, research workers and farmers. 4. To act as a precaution against insignificant, faulty or hasty recommendations. Limitations or being scattered, the trials may suffer from lack of adequate supervision of the extension agent. Or satisfactory results depend on the clarity of objective and careful selection of the practice and the farmers. 5. Farm clinic. Farm clinic is a facility developed and extended to the farmers for diagnosis and treatment of farm problems and to provide some specialist advice to individual farmers. The extension agency may set up farm clinics in the village and or in the organization's headquarters and subcenters, where the relevant subject matter specialists, in collaboration with the extension agents, discuss, diagnose and prescribe treatment to farmers' problems, meeting those present individually, on fixed place, day and time. The specialists may visit the local area if needed, for an on-the-spot diagnosis and guidance or follow-up. This method is suitable for treatment and prevention of health problems relating to plants, animals and soils. 2. Group methods. 1. Result demonstration. Result demonstration is a method of motivating the people for adoption of a new practice by showing its distinctly superior result. The demonstrations are conducted in the farm or home of selected individuals and are utilized to educate and motivate groups of people in their neighborhood. This is a very effective method for the transfer of technology in a community. Demonstrations may stimulate farmers to try out innovations themselves, or may even replace a test of the innovation by the farmer. They can show the causes of problems and their possible solutions without complicated technical details. A great advantage of demonstration is seeing how an innovation works in practice. 1806. Conducting demonstrations with own hands shall encourage the farmers to act on a scientific basis, rather than something which is magical. Demonstrations, to be effective, should be integrated with the total extension program. Objectives 1. To show the advantages and applicability of a newly recommended practice in farmers' own situation. 2. To motivate groups of people in a community to adopt a new practice by showing its superior result. To build up confidence of the farmers and extension agents. To develop innovation leadership. Limitations or need more time, energy and funds for extension work. Or unsuccessful demonstrations may cause some setback to extension work. 2. Method demonstration. A method demonstration is given before a group of people to show how to carry out an entirely new practice or an old practice in a better way. It is essentially a skill training, where the emphasis is on effectively carrying out a job, which shall improve upon the result. It involves seeing, hearing, participating and practicing in a group which shall stimulate interest and action. Method demonstration is sometimes used as complementary to result demonstration. Objectives: to teach skills and stimulate people to action. To get rid of inefficient or ineffective movements. To improve upon the result by doing a job in a better way. To build up learners' confidence and satisfaction on the practice. Limitations or suitable mainly for practices involving skills. Or needs good deal of preparation, equipments and skill of the extension agent. Difference between result demonstration and method demonstration. 1807. It is based on the principle of seeing is believing. It is based on the principle of learning by doing. It requires more time, energy and fund. Comparatively less time, energy and fund are required. Purpose is to make people convinced. Purpose is to make people skilled. Comparison with old practice is essential. No comparison is required. It shows the end result outcome. It shows how to use a practice. 3. Group meeting. Group meeting is a method of democratically arriving at certain decisions by a group of people, by taking into consideration the members' points of view. Group meetings and discussions aim at collective decision making and at improving individual decision making by using the knowledge and experience of group members. The group process enhances people's participation and facilitates program implementation. It also develops capability of the people to face challenge and adverse situations. The convenient size of group for conducting a meeting or discussion may be around 15 to 25, which may be extended up to about 50. Objectives: to prepare a favorable climate for discussion and help in better understanding of the problem by pooling the knowledge and experience of a number of persons. To facilitate in-depth discussion by involving a small number of participants. To generate new ideas and methods, and select the rational ones through group interaction. To help formation of opinion about a specific issue. To develop a favorable attitude and commitment for action through group involvement. Limitations: or requires understanding of group dynamics and skill of the extension agent. Or village factions may hinder successful use of this method. Or group members must have some self-discipline. Or a slow process and may not be suitable in crisis and emergency situations. 4. Field Day or Farmers' Day. Field Day or Farmers' Day is a method of motivating the people to adopt a new practice by showing what has actually been achieved by applying the practice under field conditions. A field day or Farmers' Day may be held in a research farm or in a farmer's field or home. If the number of participants is large, they should be divided into small groups of about 20 to 25 persons each, who shall visit the spots in rotation. 09. Objectives about the applicability: showing its of the performance practice in and their own situations. Field. To convince the participants to adopt the practice by profitability under. To motivate them conditions. An unfavorable attitude about the new practice. To remove doubts, superstitions. To reinforce previous learning about the practice. Limitations: of field days cannot be held frequently, or does not facilitate in-depth learning. Mass methods. 1. Farm publication. Farm publication is a class of publications prepared by the Extension Agency in printed form, containing information relating to the improvement of farm and home. Farm publications are of various types such as leaflet, folder, bulletin, newsletter, journal and magazine. Farm publications may be used singly or in combination with other extension methods. Leaflet: it is a single printed sheet of paper of small size, containing preliminary information relating to a topic. It is made as and when needed, generally distributed free of cost. Folder: it is a single printed sheet of paper of big size, folded once or twice, and gives essential information relating to a particular topic. It is printed as and when required, generally distributed free of cost. Bulletin: it is a printed, bound booklet with a number of pages, containing comprehensive information about a topic. It is made as and when necessary. A small price may be fixed on some important bulletins. Newsletter: it is a miniature newspaper in good quality paper, containing information relating to the activities and achievements of the organization. It has a fixed periodicity of publication, generally distributed free of cost. Journal, magazine: these are periodicals, containing information related to various topics of interest not only for the farmers but also for the extension agents. It has a fixed periodicity of publication, generally supplied against prepayment of subscription for a particular period. Farm publications are extremely useful to the literate farmers. Even illiterate farmers can make use of them with the help of literate members in their family. Farm publications are used by all types of extension functionaries, input dealers, bank personnel and media persons. These may be used in most of the individual, group and mass methods. Objectives: to reach a large number of people quickly and simultaneously at a low cost. To provide accurate, motivating, credible and distortion-free information. 1809. To provide support to other extension methods. To facilitate use at convenience and to serve as a future reference. Limitations: or cannot be widely used in areas of low level of literacy. May lose its significance if not carefully prepared and used. Periodical revision is necessary to keep the publications up to date. 2. Mass meeting. Mass meeting is held to communicate interesting and useful information to a large audience at a time. The size of the audience for mass meeting may be a few hundreds, but at the time of fairs or festivals it may be few thousands. The majority of the audience have a purpose in attending the meeting, though some outsiders may attend it out of curiosity. Mass meeting may be held in a covered or in an open place. Public address system is essential for conducting mass meeting. Slide or film show may enhance effectiveness of the meeting. Objectives: to focus attention of the people on some important topic. To create general awareness about a program or project and to announce its progress. To enlist people's participation in community work. To appear personally before a large audience. Limitations: or in-depth discussion of the topic not possible, or cannot be held frequently, or difficult to get feedback information. 3. Campaign. A campaign is an intense educational activity for motivating and mobilizing a community to action, to solve a problem or satisfy a need urgently felt by it. The duration of a campaign may be for a single day on a theme like Water for Life, for a few weeks as in rat control or family planning, for a few months as in Van Mahotsava, tree planting, and for a few years as in Grow More Food campaign. A campaign may be held by involving a small number of people in a few villages, or by involving an entire community or the entire nation over the whole country as in Pulse Polio campaign. Campaign on certain themes, say, environment, disease control etc., may be organized over the whole world. Campaign around a theme may be organized only once, or may be repeated year after year, till the goal is satisfactorily reached. Objectives: or to create mass awareness about an important problem or felt need of the community and encourage them to solve it. 1810. To induce emotional participation of the community at the local level and create a favorable psychological climate for adoption of new practices, limitations are applicable only for topics of community interest. Success depends on cooperation of the community and their leaders. Requires adequate preparation, concerted efforts and propaganda techniques, and uninterrupted supply of critical inputs. Exhibition. An exhibition is a systematic display of models, specimens, charts, photographs, pictures, posters, information etc. in a sequence around a theme to create awareness and interest in the community. This method is suitable for reaching all types of people. Exhibitions may be held at the village, block, subdivision, district, city, state, national and international levels. Though an exhibition is organized around a major theme, other related themes and unrelated items like entertainment may also be included. Farmers' fairs and Krishi Melas held by the agricultural universities, institutes and various other organizations in which field visit, training programs etc. are combined with exhibition are effective and popular. Exhibitions may also be organized by taking advantage of local fairs and festivals. In fixing dates for exhibition, the weather condition and schedule of farm operations may be kept in view. Objectives. To promote visual literacy. To acquaint people with better standards. To create interest in a wide range of POE. To motivate people to adopt better practice. Limitations or requires lots of funds and preparation, or cannot be held frequently. 1811. 4. Methods of evaluation of